Posting is not marketing. Market like this. This is the PGA Podcast Growth Academy. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the space. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited that you're going to be spending some time with me today. This is going to be an audio version because I want to have a mixture of video and audio in between all the sessions. So if we're having 20 videos or 20 audios, or let me just say 20 classes, then I could split it up into 10, so that you can have 10 videos and 10 audios to work with. And within the first month, at least you're able to know what that's going to do for you and how you're going to learn more about your brand, your business, your style, and eventually look into all the elements of what you really want for your business, and then you can calculate those numbers and do the math for yourself. So this is the room that we are going to talk about posting and marketing. Why is it important for you to look at it from this perspective of posting? Because every time we're posting content, right? But are we really posting content for content's sake, or is it for community sake? Because you have to think about creating content and creating it in a way that people can understand, they can grow, they can learn. And it's good because it's a you have to be happy in this world, man. I just saw a post showing up on my feed. Myron Golden is going live talking about um, you know how to be happy in a world full of unhappy people. And you have to think about how to be happy within yourself first, and then also show how people can connect with you. Because when you post content on social media, people are posting on social media because they want people to see them, right? But when you think about the essence of posting on social media, your goal should not be to just make content or just post content because everyone wants to do content, but you want to have content that's going to drive them to your funnel, drive them to your website, drive them to your landing page, drive them to your lead page. You know, think about all those things you have to think about, when people are, connecting with you. You have to educate them, especially if it's the first time that you're seeing them or they're connecting with you. You have to think about how your business is part of those things. Because if I tell you how to tie a tie, and then I now tell you 5 styles of tying a tie, and then I show you that here's a tie you can use to show up with these 5 styles, then that is going to get you closer to the door, because you're not marketing your product because you have a product. You're marketing your product because your product has an experience that they need to have. So it boils down into how you're creating that experience from the standpoint of, I'm posting content on my website, but this content I'm posting is supposed to lead someone closer to understanding more about who I am. Because you have to think about what people are doing. How do people, connect with you? And the best way to do this is through educational practices, right? Because if you have an educational practice, then someone can easily connect with you and say, hey, I feel like I want to write about this topic, and I feel like the people that are going to listen to me or read this or learn from me would need to solve this problem. So I need to solve it for them, right? Give them a quick win. Like if you think about all the wins you can have in a day, give them one. And like, oh, here's a quick win. Here we can create content, put it out, have a challenge, put it out there for them to see. But here's the thing. I don't want you to be posting content like you're posting just random posts, because a lot of people post on their Instagram, and I look at it, I look at their Facebook, I look at their TikTok, I look at their posts. I'm wondering what really drove you to write this post? What was the drive? Was this post necessary, or was this post just to post? Because if you're just posting, you can be pretty much on a post stand and just post away, or you can be at a post office, or you can just post away. But you don't want to post content that is not receiving any type of feedback that allows you to know about your business. Because when you post, you can post all the way, you can post all day, but don't just post because you have a post. You just download something on Canva. Now you want to make a post. No, you're posting because you want to let them know that, hey, for the next 10 seconds, read this information so you can learn a little bit about my business, right? So when you think about a post, it's not about showing up on social media, right? It's showing up for a few seconds so that people can understand why you showed up in the first place, and then you address the factor or address the message, as fast as possible so they can retain the message and take action. So you have to think about how to market your business. And we're going to talk about it, in today's room, especially in the area of podcasting too. Welcome, John. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Thursday morning to you. All's well here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us. What are your thoughts on the posting marketing piece?
Well, I take a strategy of you build a community of who's most likely to consume your content. And when I say consume your content, that doesn't just mean your podcast, because let's face facts, the vast majority of Americans never listen to podcasts and never will. But that doesn't mean that because on social media you attract consumers, you can't generate other revenue streams. And that's what you need to focus on. So I take the strategy of I post what is most organic, what is most prone for engagement and sharing organically, and is designed to see. I do three posts. They're static images with a caption or quote up top. This is the reason why memes do so well. And then the fourth post is going to be an episode of my show. And that episode, the caption is usually one line or less with a link, and the first word is highly searchable and impactful. I believe in punching people in the mouth, get their attention. So, having said that, as a result, Facebook is the number one source of traffic for social media for me and has been for years. And then number two is LinkedIn. And number three is one that's not really social media, but it has much social media aspects to it. It's called Newsbreak. But that's the strategy I take. Post content. And the best example I'll give you, the classic rock radio station. You'll notice the ones that are really good, they're going to post three or four images that are targeted towards developing response for consumer they're trying to get it in front of. Classic cars, camping, fishing, whatever it might be. And it's not about them. The fourth or fifth post is about their content. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, John. It's very important to look at it from that perspective when you're on the receiving end, when someone's reading your post. Like if you read your post and read it back to yourself from a consumer standpoint, you'd have a different feeling than when you're looking at it from an admin standpoint. So when you're creating those connections, the way you post, how you post, when you post, why you post, is also going to contribute to how they'll feel that you're marketing your product. Because if you show up every day, then it means that you're marketing something. You're not really selling something, but you're marketing your teaching. Because when you think about the market is a place where you learn. Anywhere you go, when you go to a market, you learn about the market. You can't just do anything in the market without learning about the market. If I'm going to a market to buy groceries, I need to know what type of groceries I'm going to get. If I'm looking for apples, oranges, I need to touch them to know, okay, these are ripe, these are yet to be ripe, these are soft, these are hard. You have to do that research yourself, because you can see a lot of apples, but not every apple is going to be eaten up, right? So when you're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, you're in the middle of a sea. You're in the middle of an ocean that everybody can see the water, but can they see your drop? Can they see your hue? Can they see your color? Can they see your taste? Can they taste what you're doing? Those are questions you have to really ask yourself when you're making a post. Because with a podcast, it's a perfect way to market your product because you're not selling every time. You're educating most of the time. And the more you educate someone on your product, especially when it's in context to something you're posting, then it feels like you're in season, right? That's why when people are posting, they're posting content because they know this information that they see is going to prompt someone to leave a comment, or prompt someone to leave a message, a private message, or prompt someone to visit the website. Because when you treat every content like an asset, then you're building on that asset. Case in point, If I have a podcast episode and it's 5 minutes long, I'll take that 5 minute episode and stretch it across a whole week. So I spoke for 5 minutes and I'm stretching a minute each for 5 days. People are going to spend a minute or less to consume that content, but in 5 days, they have about 5 minutes to spend out of 24 hours times the number of days in the week they have to spare to listen. So if you are attentive and you're retentive, meaning if you're attentive to the consumer and you're retentive to the context, then anytime you show up and you're giving them the same piece of information, here are 5 ways to do this. Step number one, Monday. Step number two, Tuesday. Step number three, Wednesday. Step number four, Thursday. Step number five, Friday. By Friday, your podcast would have been listened to through the whole week. You've literally gone through a class the whole week. Now you understand the concept, because the first time you hear something, you may understand it, but you won't really conceptualize it, right? The second time you hear it, you might conceptualize it, but you may not really materialize it. It might not be actualized, you know. So if you have to really think about where you're going with your content, it has to start from how are you showing up in the market, your font, your colors, your style, your theme, how it's looking. You have to look at all those things. And there's so many technical things to go about it, but you have to start from the base. So look at it from that point and not just post, post, post. Because the more you post, the stress out you, the more stress you can get. So think about how to do that strategically, and that can help you too. David, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? And welcome, Soda.
Hey, Favor. um, Good morning to you all. Thank you for having me on here. Yes, I agree. So one of the things that I've been doing on not so much on social media, but on Google, the GMB or the Google Business Profile, that I have been posting more often relevant content, and it's linking straight to that piece of information that I have on my website, and it seems to be giving me a good boost. And trying to post about at least 4 posts a week. But yeah, I'm completely aligned with what you're saying here. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that you're posting it as well. Let me ask you this, David. When you're making posts, what do you see like the week after? Like, do you notice a difference when you post and then you notice a difference when you don't post? And I'm talking about like the bottom line of the business.
Yeah, definitely. So it just feels with SEO that anytime that you do post and it's relevant to what your niche. I see in my metrics spike up, and I even get more calls and stuff like that. So I know it's definitely working. So, and I know that's just one factor, right? But yeah, definitely I have seen an increase since I started posting on the GMB, and something that I was starting to do is also on LinkedIn as well. So but it more than anything, just elevating that presence, right? Just having more eyes on what I do is important, and the rest comes down. Sometimes you'll see that down the road, your efforts, your SEO efforts, or whatever it is that you did, you'll see it, the posting, you'll see those efforts, pay off down the road. Sometimes it's not immediately, but, I do see that, and I do see those metrics climbing up. So yeah, definitely 100%.
I love that. I really, really do. Thank you for highlighting that, because the fact of posting, the fact that you're actually posting is because you're looking for a response. And every time you're posting, what you're getting back is data, because that data you're getting back is because of what you posted. Like on LinkedIn, for me, for example, I noticed that anytime you hit over 100 impressions on LinkedIn, it starts to create viral attention. And if you post a video on LinkedIn, especially now because LinkedIn video is coming to town, if I can put it like that, It's going to look like TikTok and Instagram Reels. It's really, really cool, guys. If you have the beta, you should see it on your LinkedIn right now. So if you look at your videos on LinkedIn, if one view count is equals to 3 seconds of watch time. So if you have 100 impressions on LinkedIn, 200 impressions on LinkedIn, 300 impressions, 400 impressions, you can go to the thousands of impressions, then you start to get a lot of feedback, right? Because when you start posting online, you're posting because you want to get impressions. You're posting blogs on websites because you want, on web pages because you want to get impressions. You're posting on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok because you want to get impressions. You want to gather impressions. But many people look at impressions on their professional dashboard and they kind of ignore it because they either don't know what to do with the information, or they know what to do, but they don't know really where it's going to take them to if they try something different. They don't want to lose what they're already getting. So you have to measure and see, okay, what did I post that really got me this number of views? It wasn't even that serious and it got the most views. And then something you think is going to get the most views gets the least views. So when you're posting, you're not posting for yourself, you're posting for the market, right? Because when the market looks for your post, they're like, okay, that's the post. You can drive to that post and get that information from that post. If I'm trying to get information, I have to drive to that post to read what's on that post. Then it's going to market me to get there from wherever I am. If it's going to take me 5 miles to get there, if it's going to take me 50 miles to get there to get the message, then I have to look at it from that perspective. So when you're marketing with the intention to serve, right? Because when you're marketing, it's a service, right? You're not marketing a product so that you can do bad things. You're marketing a product so they can understand more about the product and then surprise you with things they can do with the product, right? When you buy things, you don't even know what you can do with the product. Our iPhones, for example, for those who have iPhones, even Androids, phones in general, cellular devices. Every time you look at your phone, you don't use everything on your phone. They've marketed to you the phone. You know about the iPhone. You know about the Samsung. You know about the phones out there, right? But you don't know all the details that you can do with the phone. You don't know all the intricacies you can do with the phone. But when you get the phone, you can do whatever you want. But you're not buying the phone because it has 500 features. You're buying the phone because it has one feature. It has two features. It has a lot more, but you're not looking at those things yet because that's not a priority. So when you're posting content on your website, when you're posting blogs, when you're posting articles, when you're posting newsletters, when you're posting episode snippets, when you're posting, quotes, when you're posting, teasers, all those things are posts, but they're all posting to a cause. If you look at CNN, Bloomberg Report, uh, Wall Street Journal, just go to their Instagram, even go all the way to TMZ, go to the Shade Room, check them out, see what they do. They make a post. That post is read for maybe 10 seconds. You can actually even put a timer and count how many seconds it takes you to read that post if you really want to do like the math scientifically. How many words do I have to read in a sequence for me to get that in a time that allows me to stay on screen? So if it takes me 10 seconds to read this one post, and then it takes me another 10 seconds to read the caption, that's 20 seconds of my time that I need to invest in this one post. So however long you're giving people information, you also have to consider how much time they have to spend with you. So if you were giving them time to spend with you and competitor A has 20 seconds to give, competitor B has 15 seconds to give, and competitor C has 10 seconds to give, guess what? If you focus on the 10 seconds and the call to action is within those 10 seconds, then the other 10 seconds they're going to take that action has been saved, compared to the first person has to take 20 seconds to understand the concept and then probably spend another 10 seconds to apply that concept. Now, guess what? I have 10 seconds over you because I've been able to leverage my time better than you have to say the same thing. So, point is, when you're creating content, you're not creating content for people to see. Look at CNN, Bloomberg Report. They'll tell you this is the headline, this is the story. Read more. Click and link in bio for you to read the full story. So they're telling you, here's a post, guys, but this is not the real post. This is the post about the post. So when you go to the actual post, then you can learn about what the post is talking about. So you have to really think about what you're creating and how you're building connections with people online, because when you make those posts, it's a quick win, right? If you put it on LinkedIn, let them read it for a few seconds. It's come to their email. It works. I've done it myself. That's why I love marketing, because you have to test. I remember, I think this was Christmas 2022. I sent an email and it was just one line. It was Merry Christmas. That's literally what I said. And the open rate was crazy. It was one line. I was like, Favor, are you really going to do this? I said, yes, because I want to test it. I don't do it all the time. But guess what? People responded back to that email. Merry Christmas, Favor. Merry Christmas to you and the team. Thank you. We started reconnecting with people just because I said Merry Christmas. I didn't have to talk about a pitch on how Christmas is the best holiday in the season. No, I don't need all that. You already know what Christmas is about. I can't tell you more than you know, right? So all I'm telling you is building a relationship with people by posting something means that the words you're using on the post have to make sense so that when you get that feedback, it actually drives conversation. If you make a post and it doesn't drive conversation, then what are you doing? You have to think about the time you're investing so that their time is also invested well. It has to be a give. It has to be a two-way street. It can be a one-way street. So I hope you guys got that, down as well. Soda, we'd love to come to you. What are your thoughts on the conversation, and good morning?
Good morning. I really needed all of this because one of my biggest issues is, I would say, posting with a purpose and posting with a consistent message. Because whenever people go to any of my accounts, they always tell me, like, I'm really confused on what you're all about, because I'll just post random things that's in my head or whatever, and then sprinkle in, whatever my podcast thing is that I'm trying to promote. And when I post things that aren't directly related to what my account is for, then I get followers who follow me for something that's totally unrelated, and they think that I'm going to be talking more about that, and I never talk about it again. And then they unfollow me. And then, I'm trying to do more separate accounts for the random thoughts, and then have my main account for if I have a message. So I think that that's definitely something I'm working on. And also, like what was mentioned earlier, I think by John, is that if you could have an amazing post, but if you're not using any of the right hashtags or have a good community or anything, if you're not doing it correctly, with the right SEO and everything, no one's going to see it. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I love all of the points that were said. Thank you.
Thank you, Soda. Yeah, there is definitely a reason to look at it from a 30,000 viewpoint and see your post as something that can last forever. Because when we post stuff, we don't think about how long this post can last for. When you drop an episode, 5 years later, you're like, oh, this episode is still playing. It's still playing. It still works. Imagine playing a vinyl record or a cassette tape, a CD, or floppy disk, and it's still playing your favorite song. It feels good because it's nostalgic. It has this kind of vibe to it. It's hitting a different brainwave, and you're feeling good about it. So you're putting yourself in a position where you're posting content that people can feel. Because when people post with energy. When I hit that publish sign, I'm hitting it because I have energy. So I'm giving you bursts of energy because I know this post is going to make you laugh. This post is going to make you cry. This post is going to make you think. This post is going to make you question. This post is going to make you ask a lot of questions. So when you're posting because you're posting to the market, and the market is responding back to you. So when you're responding back to the market has to feel like you heard them first. That's why they say the customer is always right. That's because you have to think about what they're thinking. You can't really think about what they're thinking if you don't ask them the right questions. So you have to look at it, from that way. Rocky, welcome to the building. How are you? Good to see you. And also, I saw Austin, Dana, Leslie, and America Supermom. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you all. Aaron, I see you. Vasilisa, Mo, Ariana, Daddy, Joy, Pepe, and Juma. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you all. Rocky, what's up?
Hi, good morning. What's going
It's good,
on?
good.
This topic intrigued me. I'm like, the hell Favor talking about now?
You already know it's always good stuff. It's always good conversation we have here in the PGA and the marketing club as well. Yeah, posting is not marketing. I'd like to ask you, when you read this title, what hits you first?
Everyone that thinks that they can just post and make a sale when that's not exactly how it works. A lot of, especially MLMs, people are like, you have your business, just get started, just post. And then they get super discouraged when nothing happens and they forgot the marketing piece. Same thing as when I believe that affiliate marketing, you're not going to be successful if you don't know how to market. You must learn how to market. So just slapping some up there and nobody can find it, that's not marketing. So, yep, that's what I think.
No, I love that. I love that. It's like putting a poster on the wall and expecting everyone that passes through that wall to come to your show. It's not gonna work like that. You have to really think about the intention and how you can make someone to stop, drop and roll, if you can put it like that. So they can also learn and see that you're also giving them time and energy, because by the time they invest their money or their time into your vision, then you know that there's something that's of a common interest, that's allowing both of you to thrive together, because without each other it can't work. Number one commodity in the world is people. If you don't have people, the more people you help, the more profit you get. The more people you help, the more consumers you're able to connect with. But if you just help yourself, then that's about it. But if you help other people and other people help others, then you've extended your hand beyond your own reach. So yeah, posting is definitely not marketing, but marketing requires posting. It's a catch 22, but it's kind of really a good way to put it. So thanks, Rocky, for that. America's Supermom, good morning. Thanks for being here. I just wanted to let you all know that me and America Supermom, we kind of did a tag team. So like the first day I was on her show, on her TV show. The second day she was on my podcast show, and we were able to do an amazing segue into, amazing conversations. I can't wait for y'all to check it out when it's out. But we've really collaborated just in a matter of a week. And you only know, like, when you connect with people the right way, things happen when you show up. So I really appreciate you, America Supermom. How are you? Good morning and welcome to the room.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Favor, and thanks for that shout out. Yeah. What came to mind for me is that, you really can't control a lot of the metrics, when you're posting. You don't know who they're posting to, if anybody's seeing them, even if they're your connections, because of the algorithms and things like that. So, it really is something that is not guaranteed. I just look at it as, the extra accessories that you put on something. But it takes going that extra mile, and just in the case of us connecting, we were in a room, you make emojis and stuff, but I went over to Instagram and actually connected with you. So I think the post is just the opportunity to kind of get your foot in the door, but it takes us going that extra mile, doing the extra things in order for us to uh, be in the way of getting closer to whatever our goal and objective is.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that insight, because the thought of making a post requires thinking, requires processing, requires, planning, requires research, because you don't want to post the wrong thing to the wrong audience either. So when you're making a post, you're like, okay, is this post going to make sense? And is it also going to make sense? Sense and Cents. Are they both going to make sense? If you put them on an equilibrium scale, is it going to balance out? What's it going to look like? How are you going to balance that scale? How are you going to balance that equation? How much organic advertising are you doing? How much paid advertising are you doing? Some people don't even do it this way, but you can do it like this, right? I'm giving you guys practical examples too. Imagine if you do a LinkedIn poll, or you do a Facebook poll, or I think Threads poll, or you just do a poll in general, right? And you ask them a question and let people answer. The people who respond to that poll, right, go an extra mile, like America's Mom, Supermom was saying, and go DM them. First of all, thank them for even accepting to do the poll, because not everyone is going to, do what you say or pretty much follow through. So if they do, it means that they were probably intrigued by something that they thought about. And ask them, hey, thanks for, clicking on this, liking on this poll. What made you click this? What made you choose this? Then let them respond. That way you're like, oh, okay, I didn't think of it like that. Okay, I thought about that too. Okay, can we talk about it a little bit more? Maybe let's get on a virtual coffee session and talk about it more and see where you are, if that's something you need help with. And then before you know it, you're on a phone call with them. Before you know it, you're having actual coffee with them. Before you know it, you're shaking hands with them. Before you know it, you're building business together. So that post may have turned into a completely new thing. And not every post is going to turn into profit either. So don't think, oh, this post is going to make me money. This post is not going to make, you don't know what's going to happen. But the consistency in your posting is what's going to let people know that you remain top of mind. When you send an email every day, when you send an email every week, you have to think about those posts, because a post can go a long way if it has value and substance. One line can make a difference between a sale and a flop. One line. So you have to think about, what is your one line? What is your one line? That movie title, that slow, that little title you see in the bottom of the title, it's one line. The slogan, one line. The mantra, one line. Right? The title, one line. The call to action, one line. That one line can be a fine line between your success and the drop. So you have to think about the lines you're falling in and the lines you're placing, so that you don't just place things because there's a placement board on the border. So you have to think about it like that. I want to pass it to you, John. Oh, go ahead, David. Anybody can go, really. This is an open space.
And I'm jumping really quickly here. So, again, we can make this really complicated or we can make it simple. And I believe simple, keep it simple, and then start gradually adding in the complicated pieces. So, if we look at my Facebook page for the Law Enforcement Talk Radio Show, the reach, I'm looking at the insights right now. The reach for this year from January 1st, 2024 to today is 5.4 million people. That's down from the same time period before. Content interactions. This is where it gets really important. 570,100 and change. That's the one. It's an engagement game. So the more people you can get to see that engage with your posts, that could be either clicking an emoticon in the case of Facebook, making a comment, or sharing it, the more people that follow your page will see what you post, especially what you post next. So, therefore, post a lot of things that are going to build the community, the developer response. And not every post I put up is a home run, some are. But if you do zero posting, you'll get zero results. So, as a result of this, and I'm going to go into some quick notes, when it comes to social media, the number one source of traffic for my website from April 4th to May 1st is Facebook with 719. LinkedIn is number two with 84. Guess who's number three? Clubhouse. I know Rocky does a lot of rooms, Favorite does a lot of rooms. Clubhouse is number three. Then Linktree, because I use Linktree with my Instagram, and Instagram is three. Three. So it's about driving traffic to your properties offline. So you use engagement so more people see what you post, and then you can get more of an audience to go to where your offline properties are, the things that make you money. And of course, all that will add to more direct visits to your website, which is still number one for me.
Yeah, and I want to add to what John said. I like it. I like that John has a diverse platform because I talk about it all the time. Because how in the hell are you going to know what metrics work if you're not on those platforms? Like, you can't say TikTok doesn't work for me if you haven't been on it long enough to study it and get the data from it, or if you haven't been consistent on LinkedIn enough to get the data from it. So I think it really is about, and I just got off of the stock market, so diversifying your platform, same thing. Diversify your portfolio, post everywhere, and just test it out, even if it's once a week, and then get those analytics, because that is what is going to help you out a lot. but you have to be there. You can't unfairly judge something if you have not really tested it out the way that you're supposed to test it out. Because a lot of you will make sales, you're just on the wrong platform and don't even know it.
Hmm. That's true. You could just be one one platform away from your biggest sale, but you probably didn't know it was available because you didn't see it,
And guess
and
what's showing up, Favor, doing really well? One of your favorites, Pinterest, is generating traffic.
nice. Yeah, Pinterest is that underdog.
Oh my God, yes. Sorry, I jumped just by doing that Instagram migration. I jumped on Pinterest from 4.8 monthly views to 11K. Matter of fact, let me look right now while I'm on with y'all because it was 11K yesterday. Let's see what it is today. Today it is 12K monthly views. So every day I go up by 1,000 or two.
I love that, Rocky and John. That's good about Pinterest. One thing about Pinterest that most small businesses don't know, which I tell them, but I don't know how much to say to tell to convince them. But if you use Pinterest as part of your marketing stack for your business, meaning you have a Pinterest business account, you have claim to your website, whether you have a product page, a service page, an e-commerce, whatever it is, a portfolio page, a business page, and put it on your Pinterest, you're going to be leveraging domain authority. Because when you start off with your website, especially if you have a new website, your website is maybe a year old, 2 years old, 5 years old, it's not enough. It doesn't have enough weight. Or, when you think about your credit, like Rocky's talking about finances, right? Think about your credits, the age of your credit age, right? The longer you have credits, the stuff. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't quote me. I'm giving you all an example, right? An analogy. When you think about the age of your credit, think also about the age of your domain, because the age of your domain is going to guarantee how old you are online, if that makes sense. So the older you are online, the faster the algorithm can trust you. So if you treat the algorithm like a baby, and tell the algorithm, hey, I'm feeding you information, I'm feeding you content, I'm feeding you links, it's gonna grow. The baby's gonna grow. And when the baby grows, the baby knows your link, the baby knows your logo, the baby knows your sound, the baby knows your podcast, they know your links. So you've built it into a huge fortress that now you've connected with other sources on the internet that do what you do. So when you create your domain and you're using that domain to create links, and you're putting those links on the internet, you're posting content that is being marketable. Because if you post content and say, hey, here's my content, check me out, Instagram.com/P/1234567, cool. You can be on Instagram today. But if I'm your competitor and I look at what you're doing and I want to outsmart your competition, or I want to leverage your competition and find a way to be more of like into your market share, I'll take what you're doing and say, all right, if you guys are doing posts on Instagram like this, I'm going to go do the same post on Instagram, but I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to post those links into my website as a blog and then go back to social media. And instead of sending you guys to my Instagram, I'm sending you to my website. So by the time I send you to my website, I have first party data. That allows me to now know who's coming in, who's leaving, who's on Instagram, who's not. That way, I'm able to filter down my own filters. That way, I know if I'm responding back, if I'm running ads, if I'm retargeting, if I'm doing anything with my business, I know, okay, out of these 5 posts, this third one did the best. Why did it do the best? Maybe it was the time I spent on the post. Maybe it was the color. Maybe it was a call to action. Maybe I had a teaser in there. Maybe it was something in the background that made more sense. So you have to look at those elements that allow you to know exactly what is bringing you business. Because when you pay attention to those little things, it goes a really long way, especially when it comes to posting in the market that is already saturated with a lot of information. Go ahead, David. I remember you wanted to say something too.
Thank you, Favor. I just want to touch back on that one line subject that we're talking about and keeping it simple, like John said, also doesn't have to be complicated. Looking back, uh, I worked for an advertising agency about 20 years ago. That's about the time that I left, regular workforce and just went on my own. But one of the greatest things that I took from it was, like you just mentioned, the one line, but we would also do ads with one line and one photograph. You know what I mean? And one photograph and all these elements um, would actually, and keeping it simple, it would actually help advertise, and it was so good. It was just like you said, there was just a one line in that photo, but that photograph, said a million, had a million words in it, so. That was kind of our strategy, and again, I don't know if that's still going on with marketing, today's marketing, and but I take that into the digital world also, and I have applied it, and being a photographer, that was one of my greatest things. Just posting that one photograph that would speak a million words, opposed to putting a whole bunch of photographs that possibly didn't make sense. There's some photos that you add, but maybe they're not the greatest. So I was always looking for that Mona Lisa, that one portrait that would speak for itself, and that one line. But I just want to touch up on that, and yeah.
Thank you so much, David, for that. Yeah, the one line is big because when someone reads it, you have to calculate. It's something, I don't know, maybe it's because I think sometimes in scientific ways, but if I look at time, you can't measure time, it's immeasurable. But if you can quantify time or qualify the time that you're spending, then you can calculate them in seconds. So I kind of do it like in beats and bars. So if I know that I'm running a 15-second ad, I'm going to partition it into 3 sections: 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. So act one, act two, act three. Act one, in 5 seconds, I have 5 frames because if it's a second a frame, then I have 5 seconds to perform within 5 frames of information you can see visually. So if I'm posting something to the market for 15 seconds, then I know if I have to keep you watching this for at least 50%, I need to make sure that my catchiest phrase, my desirable phrase, what I really want you to get out of this message is said within the first act, right? Because within the first act, I'm addressing the problem, right? I can show up and, give you something nice to laugh at or something to look at or something to think about. But by the time I'm done listening for those 15 seconds, I should know what you're saying. And sometimes people like say, oh, 15 seconds. Oh, yeah, I can knock that out. Yeah. But trust me, on radio, 15 seconds is money. 15 seconds, you have to know what you are saying because I've worked in radio before. So I know how radio works from a standard radio station. So I've seen it in real time. When you think about radio and you are focusing on the time you're spending, within those 15 seconds, for example, every second that you're speaking, there's something that is registering in the mind, right? And most times, some people, I don't know, it's a trick. Some people do it, some people don't. But if you add music to your messaging, it adds value. That's why TikTok does so well because people put music next to their messaging, right? That's a way of marketing. People do that on Instagram, people do that on YouTube. Imagine that same video without the music background. Will it do as well? I don't know. You can never tell. You have to test it. But point is, you have to think about the elements that contribute to the market by adding value to the post you're creating for the people. So if I have 15 seconds and I know that this 15 seconds is going to allow you to know what my podcast is about, then I need to make sure that the keywords that you are already searching for in the market is what you're already used to. If I say a word that you're not used to, you're not going to relate with me because we're not speaking the same language. But if I say a word that you've been saying all day, it's going to catch faster. You're going to resonate faster and you're going to respond faster because it's something you've been used to hearing consistently, both in your head and also just around you, within your surroundings. So if I go to a platform like SparkToro, and I do some audience listening, and I know that, okay, people are talking about this. I'm going to spend 15 seconds talking about this and then running it back to them, then I'm now marketing to them with this post because now I'm in a zip code, in a county, in a city, in a state, in a country that I know that these people are looking for this problem solved. And because I have this solution, I need to make sure that they're aware of my solution. Because in a market, there are two sides. It's either they're not problem aware or they are problem aware. If they're not problem aware, how do you keep them engaged? How do you let them know that, hey, did you know? If you didn't know, now you know. Now you're problem aware. Now, when you're problem aware, you want to solve the problem. So there's always going to be a next step after the awareness stage. So when you think about awareness, consideration, conversion, all those things you see on Google, ads, Facebook ads, they're all great. But when you really look at the scientific formula behind awareness campaigns, consideration campaigns, which is middle of funnel campaigns, meaning that I need to do something differently from the awareness phase in my consideration phase. And then the decision phase, which is more of the conversion phase, I need to do something different from the other two. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, where am I posting? And if no one has ever seen me in this market before, how do I show up with a stand and say, hey guys, I'm here. Check me out. Look at me. I'm over here, right now. They'll see you. They'll spend 5 seconds and see you. But if that 5 seconds is not spent well, you're not getting another 5 seconds. So you have to think about how you're posting and showing up. So when they see it, they can feel like, okay, this person shows up every day and I'm valuing the information as I listen to the person on a consistent basis. So don't just post for post's sake, post because there's a market. In terms of, podcasting, we're in May right now. What are the discussions we're going to learn in May, right? What are the things we're going to learn about in May? What is going on this month, right? If you can talk about those things and add it to your brand, that's a brand experience, right? When you incorporate things that are happening in trends that are happening in real life and you incorporate that into your brand, people resonate with you because you're also part of the community. You can't be posting something and everyone is talking about another thing. We look like, are we on the same page? Everyone's looking at the building on the right, and you're talking about the beach that is 5 miles away. No one's gonna look at that because at that specific time, there's a time place for everything. So when you're looking at your time spent, you're looking at how that is going to contributing to your success. You have to think about that formula. So don't just post today because Favor said post, John said post, David said post, Soda said post, Rocky said post, America Superman said post. No, when you post because you know that someone that's going to leave a comment or leave a private message with you is going to say something that you were expecting, but also not expecting because the problem you're solving, you don't know what problem they have. So that way you're able to resonate with them and build those relationships with them. Does anyone want to say anything or add to this?
I just want to add, because I know we were talking about one-liners and stuff like that. Um, Consider the platform, because sometimes, when you post, ow, crap, almost died. Um, Sometimes when you post, you want to make sure that you are considering search engine optimization. And I know that's your thing. It's the same reason I tell people, like on Instagram, if you make a post and you have one line in the caption or two lines in the caption, you're not really going to get the reach that you deserve regardless. So you really do have to be mindful of where you are and how to leverage that platform correctly. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That SEO piece is big because social media has SEO, but people don't really see it. Because if you're searching for something, you're searching for a brand, right? You're searching for something specific. So if you don't have your file name, keyworded, you don't have your article title keyworded, your podcast title keyworded, you don't have your clusters, then you'll be all over the place. But with SEO, with putting things together, it just consolidates all your stuff online and then it gives you presence. People say, "Oh, I don't think I need SEO right now." I'm like, I don't even know why you're saying that because you're breathing SEO, you're speaking SEO, you're talking SEO because you just told me you don't need it right now, meaning that you're not interested in it. But what you're interested in may be running ads. You may be interested in influencer marketing, but at the end of the day, you're looking for a solution to the problem. But because SEO, quote unquote, does not make sense, you've not seen it for yourself to know if it's going to make sense in the first place. So when you're posting content online, your post is supposed to be a way to be seen. If somebody sees your post, it means that they recognize you. Then when they read your post, they want to understand you. Then when they take action on your post, they want to experience you. So before they even experience you, they have to know you. They have to spend time with you. People can be on your email list all year and not say a word. And then one day you just get an email, boom, someone wants to work with you or collaborate with you, or you're being invited to a show or to an event. It happens. So you have to be intentional about how you post. LinkedIn for me is also a great place to make those posts, guys, because I'm not telling you how to market, but we're telling you how to market like this because we've tried it, it works, and it keeps working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when you're marketing your product to a place that people are going to find your product easily, right? They may not find it as easily, but they'll eventually find it, right? If you start marketing to those people, then you start to understand how it can go to those extents, right? Let me ask you all a random question, very random question, and I'm really curious to see this answer. Anytime you put gas in your car, put in the chat or just let me know on stage if you hear if you have an answer for this. Whenever you put gas in your car and you hear the sound come on and you see a little screen, do you watch that screen or do you ignore it?
The screen that says you need gas, or I'm confused
You
with the
know that
screen.
little screen that starts playing advertisements, and not it's not in all gas stations, but as soon as as soon as you start pumping gas, it
Oh, that
starts
shit's
playing.
annoying.
I
It's
ignore the
annoying.
video by listening to the audio.
Yeah, you can hear the audio, but I ignore the video too. But first of all, it just comes on and scares the shit out of you. So I'm not a fan.
I don't really listen. I used to. Sometimes if I'm thinking about marketing ideas, I'll listen just to see what they have playing, but for the most part, I ignore it. I set my gas to fill up on his own and get back in the car.
Okay, I like that. So that David.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's some will capture my attention if it's like a local ad, but for the most part, yeah, just I'll be listening, but not so much seeing. If that makes sense.
And
Okay.
I think it depends on what they put on, because I know for one, at least where I am, in I'm in the outskirts of Atlanta. They used to have like a word of the day or something, so I would always want to know what that was, but I don't really see that anymore.
Okay. Hmm. Why I ask this question is because I want to flip this script a little bit. What if you were the one running an ad in a zip code that you're very aware of, and you know what brand they're looking for and what solution they're needing, and you know exactly where they pump gas, you know exactly what time of the day they go to pump gas? Would you run an ad there if it's so specific, or would you not run it at all, knowing that they have a need?
I wouldn't, because with those things you can't super target it, right? It's just any random person that shows up. So the person that you are targeting may potentially show up, but you're going to get a lot of people that aren't interested. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it probably. I probably test it out to see what the conversion will look like, and then go from there.
Okay. Nice answer. I like that. If I was to do it, I would not do any middle of funnel or bottom of funnel. I would do top of funnel. And what I would do is, hey, you there pumping gas, look at me. By the time you're hearing that, you're like, who's talking? So you turn around.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Favor. You one of them creepy people. That you the ones that I don't like.
No, this is just a random example though, because you have to think about the experience. Like, oh, sorry to scare you there. I just have 15 seconds with you before you're done with your gas. I have a podcast. It's called We Don't Play. Please scan this code with your phone before you put the gas back in the pump. Please let me know if you like this, and I'd love to connect with you. Boom. That's 15 seconds. You've talked to them, right? They've interacted with you, and there's a screen. Not everyone's gonna watch a screen. You can go to a hotel for a whole weekend and not turn on the screen. It's very possible. So the screen is there, but the market is there, but you have to put your post there for them to see it, to interact with it. So if I knew my zip code, I knew, okay, these are the 10 zip codes. I know there are 200 gas stations here, and I'm going to run ads to all these gas pumps because I know people living within a 10-mile radius are going to be interacting on the daytime before they go to work or before they drop their kids off for school. I already know that consumer report. I already know that audience intelligence because I've done my research. Now, when I'm going there and I'm running ads for 3 weeks to 3 months, I know that if I have a code that they'll scan there, every month I'm sure I'm definitely going to get people in there. But for me to know I'm even going to get a person, I need to know if I'm really doing it correctly. So, and there are ways to do that. There are platforms to allow you to actually do that. I have that in my SEO toolbox kit, and you can run ads right into their grocery stores and right in there, because at the end of the day, you want people to see it. If you're at the airport and you have a poster in the airport, it's a digital poster, and that poster has a QR code for you to scan, and you know that people that are there traveling and you have something to give them as a brand, they're going to interact with that. They're like, oh, that's different. Let me check it out. Let me scan and go. Foot traffic, word of mouth, you can't beat that. That's people. That's people right there. So the more people you're able to interact with, the more impressed they get, the more action they take. So I'm not saying go to every mall or go to every gas station. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just giving you an example of, if you really want to market that and you want to build it up, you have to think about those things. You have to also know, okay, where the people are. If they're not there, where could they be? So you have to do that research and understand that if you're able to understand where your market is, it's going to help. And the reason why I brought this topic today, because I'm
Oh,
going to be,
really quickly, Favor. Top of
yes.
funnel is smart. That is very smart. Because you're reaching a broader spectrum versus being very targeted. Like I wouldn't say, hey, hire me for social media management. I would say, hey, are you looking to grow? Whatever, whatever. Here's a podcast, or here's, something general that they probably could just get to know me a little bit better. So no, that's smart. I do that.
Yeah, it's so easy to do it that way than trying to convince them for, no, they can't get convinced in 30 seconds. They're thinking about their gas, they gotta go. They're not thinking about you. You're the last thing on their mind. But if you can become the first thing on their mind, because you know that they've been just trying to solve a problem you have, you're like, hey, my podcast is talking about how to, do this, and this is what they're needing in their community. And everybody knows, oh, people go golfing here, people go, fishing here. You're able to know exactly what they like, what they do for the weekend. So you have it a terrain. You look at your Google Maps, see what stores are next to each other. I kind of do that. I geek out on that because I like to see what's going on in my parameter, and also within my perimeter too. So that way you're able to really get to the people as fast as you can without having to spend so much money and build this. Because why I brought this in the first place is, if you want to market your brand, posting is not marketing. You want to market like this. You want to create episodes for your show on a podcast that you own and you can push using RSS feed submissions. And then you can create posts through the servers and let people listen to your episodes, whether it's a minute or two, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30-minute episode, let them listen to it. By the time they're done listening to it, they have an idea of who you are, right? Now they recognize your voice. When you recognize someone's voice by closing your eyes, you know, oh, I know who that is when they speak, because you're so used to the voice, right? So when that person is speaking to you, you trust the voice. So if you want your business to get a higher trust score, a high listen score, a high business score, a high credit score, a high score in general, you have to show up and show out. Show up by talking to people. How do you make business? By talking to people. So if I'm talking to everybody at the same time and I'm only speaking once, but they're listening to me for years on by because I talked about one episode in one show, then that's going to be lasting forever. You can go back and listen to tapes that were recorded back in the 80s, back in the 70s. You can listen to those tapes because they're available. You can hear them speak. When you watch the news back in the 50s and you see how the news was done, and you're listening to them, you can listen. You don't know who they are, you don't know their names, you may never know who they are, but you can hear them. You know what they are saying. So if you are marketing your product, you have to be speaking. And where's the best place to speak out? Intellectual property wise and otherwise, a podcast, because you own that property, you own that intellectual property. Then you take that podcast, do a 5 minute episode, stretch it out for a whole week, do 1 minute a day, send it out to your market, let them know that, hey, I have an episode for you to listen to, let them binge on it. Then eventually they'll feel like, okay, this person is here every week, let me listen to what they have to say. In 52 weeks, definitely someone's going to spend at least 1 minute out of 52 weeks in a year, if you count the math and the number of hours that is in a day, to listen to you. So your market is out there. You're just not convincing them enough, or you're just not showing up enough for them to be convinced. So you have to do that critical analysis of asking yourself, can I be heard, can I be seen, and can I be remembered? If those three can work together, then you're always going to be ahead of the curve. Leslie said, I do like the idea of seeing words that they're using. Yes, because people read from left to right. If you look at McDonald's, their big bags, look at the way they type, they write from left to right. If you look at all these big brands, printing bags, the way they write and type, it's so in big legible letters that you can't miss it. But the way they're reading it, also count the number of syllables, because the number of syllables also helps you to know how they're registering it. The more syllables a word is, the harder it is for you to retain that information, because you have to really understand the word flow, if I can put it like that. So the less the syllables, the higher the retention. Think about that. Go back into your ABCs, go back into spelling, go back into synonyms, go back into the basics, because we kind of forget the basics when we're doing content. And we just realize if we do this consistently, someone can easily connect with us at a faster rate. So, yeah, check your syllables, check how you show up, and then that could also give you long term success for your growth. Soda says, I have a disability that prevents me from driving, so I never fill up gas. So, Soda, let me ask you this. When you're consuming information, and let's say you want to go somewhere, you want to be in a place that you can find this information, what's most convenient for you, and how do you like to receive new information?
Mostly YouTube.
Yeah, I agree. I was agreeing too. Okay. Yeah, YouTube is a great place because it's great for discovery too. And a lot of people listen to podcasts on YouTube too. That's why I think YouTube just figured, why not just bring RSS feed submissions to YouTube? It just makes total sense because it's audio and people listen to audio now. So yeah, I love that you mentioned that, Soda, as well. So I just think the whole idea of this room is to give you insights, because I'm running rooms every day in May, apart from the weekends, Monday through Friday. Started yesterday at 9 a.m. Central for an hour at least, to show you how to go through this podcast growth academy, right? There's some rooms, this is pretty much 20 hours worth of content that you're having access to when you click the link above. But here's the thing, you're listening to me here. There are 20 hours worth of content. 10 hours is going to be dedicated to video. And those videos, I'm going to do them here on Clubhouse. Today is audio. So I'm going to be doing some on video. And while I'm on video, I'll be showing you how to use your LinkedIn optimized, how to, you know, pretty much because it's podcast. But yes, we're talking about podcast growth, but we have to go outside the podcast to grow the podcast. You can't be inside the podcast and stay in the podcast to keep the podcast growing. You have to bring external factors to the podcast. You got to bring some sunshine, you got to bring some water, you got to bring some, some materials, you got to bring some things to make sure that the podcast can grow. So where do we go to grow our podcast? So I'm going to be showing you where we can go. Paid advertising, we can go to Spotify. I'll show you how to get there. I'm going to show you how to use, the CNN articles, how you can be able to get there. That's what you're going to get in the academy. When you're going to connect with people in Pinterest, you now choose, hey, do you want to work with somebody at Pinterest? Do you want to work with someone at LinkedIn? Do you want to work with someone at Spotify? Or do you want to work with somebody that works at CNN articles? Then you tell me and I'll connect you with the person. We get on a call, we set up your podcast plan, and we help you know, okay, here's where you want to target. Then we now go back to the drawing board and look at the cities, look at the states, start working on your podcast. If you've never released a podcast before, we start off with releasing 10 episodes, making sure that those 10 episodes are feeding into RSS feeds that you have been able to send submissions through, so they can get that information. And then you get that feedback saying, okay, out of these 10 episodes, we have three top states that are listening to us right now. Now, in those top three states, we now go back to Spotify or go back to Pinterest and say, hey, after these 10 episodes, now we have an audience. Let's talk about how we can run this audience up and, expand the audience, because you don't want to run an ad to an audience after one episode. I mean, you can if it's a trailer, but you want to get the best bang for your buck by having more episodes to work with so that people can binge through. So you have to think about the long-term effect. And that's why in this academy, that's where you're going to get all that, detail and that accountability. But it's up to you to make that decision. Some people will choose to now, some people will choose to later. But at the end of the day, free is not free. It's that's a fact because you're spending something, your time. Something has to be spent for you to get a acquisition on those things. So if you're thinking about your market, think about your market by focusing on what they're asking. Answer the questions. Answer the questions they're asking, and answer those questions like you really care about them. And you shouldn't fake it. If you care about them, they'll know. You can't fake a feeling. People can fake stuff, but when it gets real, you can't fake it. So you have to look at it from the perspective of I have a business, I want to make impact. Yes, I want to make money, but I want to make impact. If I want to make impact, how will my brand show up as an impactful source? By showing up with my voice. Let's say you don't want to use your voice. You can hire someone to be a co host with you or hire someone to take over your show and have faceless content where it's just them maybe representing the brand and you're just the one, promoting it on your own. You can do it so many ways, but you have to start off with the basics. So that's what I have for you guys today. I don't want to go over beyond. Last time we went a little bit way, way, way beyond the time, but I've covered an hour already. And tomorrow I'm going to be coming back here. And tomorrow is going to be really exciting. I also want to give you guys, insights, day by day. But when I come here tomorrow, one of the things that you're going to notice is the monetization piece because it's a Friday. So I know people are always excited about stuff on Friday. It's payday on Friday. So I'm going to talk about the monetization part of podcasting. And I'm going to show you some things on my screen, especially when it comes to Spotify. I won't show you how to run ads on Spotify, but I'll show you things on Spotify that I know that if you looked at, you would be so excited to run an ad as soon as you would be so happy to record an episode because you're like, I can't wait to talk to these people because of what you're going to start seeing there. So I'm going to talk about monetization tomorrow for an hour. I'll be on video and I'll be recording that, but this audio is also going to be in the academy. So everything we're doing here is to help you grow, and the more voices, the more people can hear, the better it is for everyone. And I want you to win. That's why I'm doing this dedication for May. I've not done a clubhouse room every day for a long time. So me doing this in May is just to help you guys set everything up. And also I want to be accountable too. I want to make sure that I'm keeping to my word. And you can see that I'm serious because if I don't take myself seriously, you will never take me seriously. So that's how we're gonna bring it to a close. But before we do, I wanted to pass it to you, Soda, then David and John. Let them know who you are, how they can connect with you, and if there's anything you learned from today's room, please feel free to share with us.
Oh my gosh, yes, this was such a useful room for me to really think about posting. So, but yeah, so I'm Soda. My podcast is called The Success Palette. And I started in November, and I'm really excited to really focus on growing the next few months. So, thank you again, Favor.
Thank you, Soda. David?
Well, yeah, this I have to agree with Soda. This podcast, PGA, is amazing. You're throwing some amazing tips, Favor, and whoever's listening to this right now, and you haven't jumped on the PGA, I would suggest to do it now. I mean, this is the future. This is it. One of the things that I want to touch up, and by the way, Favor is amazing. He's a great mentor. He's a great person. Very humble guy. Also, if you really get to know Favor, he's a is all around guy. And I'm not just saying that. I met Favor about 8 months ago, and I've grown, and that's what it all comes down to, guys. Personal growth and learning. This life is not about just living it, it's about constantly learning. But one of the things that I want to take away before I jump off, also, I've been here in my little personal gym in my garage, and I've been listening to everything. But one of the things that I could definitely take away today is location. I'm going to add location where you put yourself out there, right? That we discovered that's super important. But also I want to add timing, timing and location. I feel that that is important. And again, what I mean by location is where the placement, right, on these social media platforms, which some will bring bigger audiences, just like John mentioned. But I also think that timing, you when you talked about those ads that run in the gas stations, I noticed that some ads are different in certain times as well. So um and I'm sure it has to do with trending and targeting the special those that special areas or those times, right? And that is something that I'm also learning and I'm syncing up along with being relevant, something that it has an intent, and it is important for our audience and not just post, right? But I have to jump off. Favor, you're the man, dude. Everyone here, also John and Soda, thank you for your tips. Everyone that's listening, again, if you're not on the PJA, I highly suggest to. If you're thinking about a podcast, this guy's the guy. He's the man. Anyways, guys, you guys have a wonderful rest of your morning, and I know we are coming around towards the end of the week, so enjoy the rest of the week as well, whatever's remaining, and have a great weekend. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You've grown so much, and I'm really, humbled that we got to connect on this app. And you're doing so, so well for the community, especially in your area when it comes to photography. I've seen so much growth, and I'm like, wow, this could happen in 8 months. Only God knows how much it would take in 2 years to, pull this up, and you can really, really take this to the next level. So I really appreciate you, David, and can't wait to see more successes in your own business, in your own industry too. John.
I love Favor. He's a great guy, great information. You can get more details. You can listen to episodes of my radio show as a podcast at letradio.com. It started as a podcast only in 2017, got recruited by radio. Right now, we broadcast on 111 affiliate stations to about 40 million combined population. Then episodes going on as a podcast. For podcasters, we have a house here in Clubhouse called Podcast Pros. We have rooms Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. Today, we'll be focusing on perfecting tips to perfect your pitch. And you'll also have a chance to pitch your podcast for radio, for syndication and terrestrial radio, and pitch yourself as a guest on other podcasts. But you can also learn how to pitch your product and services. So that's the things we'll be talking about today at 5 p.m. Favor, as always, awesome room, but I got to connect with you, find out about the CNN articles and how to make that happen. Love to be a case study for you.
Oh, yes,
I'm on their
definitely.
website
I
right now.
100%.
I listen to every word you say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. I will reach out. I'll send you an email. We can talk about it and run it up, because this CNN article thing is, people don't know about it. And it's a big thing. CNN gets about 1 billion impressions, and this company is getting about, a good 20% of that chunk. And it's a good way to advertise your podcast. So definitely we will talk about it. And if you're in the academy, you get firsthand insights on that, so that you can also advertise your podcast. You don't have to wait to get to episode 50 to get audiences. You can start from one, but you have to know where your audience is first. And that's what we talk about in the podcast and the academy too. So if you're interested, please click the link above and sign up. Once you click the link and sign up, you're going to get an email with all the information. And we have officially launched out, the subscription plans. So you're going to be getting more insights on that. And if you sign up, you'll get the email right after this is done. You're going to get an email with access to that page, so that you can actually check it out and see if you have any information, any questions, any inquiries. You can always reach out to me. So thank you so much for being here. Jolanta had a question about LinkedIn analytics, and yes, they do have analytics. It gets to the point where you can actually use LinkedIn analytics with Google. I'll go into that later, because there's some things I'll be talking about in the academy on video with LinkedIn. Because if you're not on LinkedIn as a business, especially in 2024, you're missing out on a lot of potential customers and opportunities that can actually drive business, for you. So definitely tap in, and we're going to see that all happening in the academy. I can't really wait to, have you guys here. So I'm going to give you guys some time to click the link above so you can register. give some time because I know when the room closes, everybody goes. So I'm going to give you guys like a minute to click the link above, sign up, and then also save the replay when you're done. So that in case you have any questions, you can always come back. But click the link, sign up, and then once you sign up, you're good to go. You won't miss out on any information. I'll be here daily, guys, because I know some people are wondering what's going on. I'm here daily, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central. At least you'll find me here on Clubhouse in this same marketing club house. And eventually, after a week, the replays are going to be off so that it's going to be only in the academy, especially when it comes to very, very, monumental stuff that really move the needle for advertising. So right now you're getting the free trial. That's why the replays are on for a week. And that's why you can still have access to the back end, the audio, the videos, the replays, the resources, all the good stuff with the connections we have, for you in the back. But on Clubhouse, it's going to be audio only. So I'm I know I don't like doing replays off on Clubhouse, but I have to from next week, and I'll also be doing LinkedIn audio too because I really want to focus on building the academy and giving people my hours so that they can use those hours to save time for themselves. So thank you so much for joining this room. I appreciate you, John, Soda, Austin, Propaganda, Shay, Dr. Fashion, Deborah, Jolanta, Dawn, Steve, Pradeep, Gigi, welcome to the club. Please click the link above so that you don't miss out on the rooms. So we get that pink ticket off you and you could come back as a member. And thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you and also Joy too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, Joy, you're welcome. I'm glad you learned something new and I'm grateful for all the connections that we have here. So guys, have a wonderful Thursday and I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless you all. Peace out.